And
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this special edition of the Intentional Living uh, podcast, where we look at the accountability practice. We have all three of the folks who participate in different versions of this here together. My co-host John Donovan and my other co-host and good friend Dan Gutierrez. Welcome, gentlemen.
good afternoon.
Hey, Marty.
We are recording this on the 1st of May, on May Day, so we are all enjoying the festivities that this day often brings us. And we haven't, the three of us haven't got together on this podcast for quite some time, so just it's an opportunity for us to check in with each other. It's also, we have something that we do want to examine and discuss a little bit today. But before we get to that topic, I just want to remind anybody who might be here for the first time that this intentional living podcast is one that takes a look at breaking patterns of behavior that we say we don't want and nonetheless continue to manifest. Like, have you ever hurt someone you loved and then later regretted it and then hurt them again, often in the same way? Have you ever
Mhm.
realized in the middle of an argument with someone that you were on the wrong side of that argument and continued to argue it anyway? Or have you ever known that you were about to do or say something that you would regret? Maybe even heard a little small voice saying, "Don't go there," and yet you found yourself unable or unwilling to stop? Well, in this podcast, we examine and uncover subconscious obstacles to what we want, and we learn to befriend them, to make them allies in manifesting the life that we actually do want. And we all know what the kind of life that we want is, even though sometimes we're unable to access that consciously. And the secret is in the body, the human heart, in that experience of our feeling states, our emotional states, we can find the answers to all our questions. And that's what the accountability practice focuses on, feeling the truth of what's going on with us in any given moment, taking that deep breath, and then saying what we want and creating that or stating it in the form of an intention. I think I've summarized that, guys, as to what we're doing here. And so before we go to the topic today, just want to check in with Dan and see if there's anything that you'd like to share with us before we get going. And then, John, I'm going to ask you the same question.
No, it's good to be here. I'm looking forward to this episode's topic. Um, and I'm ready to go. So
Cool. Well, welcome.
glad to
John,
be here.
Yeah,
anything on your
welcome back.
mind before we get rolling?
Um, no, nothing coming to me. I'm ready to get into our discussion and learn and grow.
Before we do that, I have something I'd like to share, and
Oh,
it's an example of the power of the accountability practice. Just take a brief moment, but last Sunday, I got an email from my brother John, who lives in Montana, and he's next after me in the birth order of my six siblings, and I'm the oldest. And the email
hmm
said that I have going to be throwing a birthday party for my partner, who is turning 70 in the middle of May. And I'm inviting all my siblings. I want you all to come. And I know this is kind of a last minute invitation, so I'll even help defray the costs of a flight because they may be more expensive than if you had more time. And I remember as I read that email, my first reaction was I got pissed off, I got angry, I got resentful. It's like I got stuff to do that weekend. I got you're asking me to rearrange my life, and for what? Just for a party? And um, I just really got I just had this really bizarre negative reaction, and so I just decided in my I get to make my own world with my thoughts, understanding I'm not going. I have other things to do, and I'll send my regrets, and I'm willing to displease my brother and his partner, and like that. And I returned to whatever I was doing, and I kept feeling this nagging. energy in the pit of my stomach, like a little kid dragging on your shirt and saying, hey, 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 hey. And so
Mhm.
accountability practice taught me to go to that feeling. I put down what I was doing. I was reading something and put my mind on my belly where that feeling was. And I just said, let me know what you want me to know. Something's happening here and I don't know what it is. And I just want to know. And so I took a deep breath and I sat with the feeling, and the thoughts began to come to me. Um, but what's really going on? What's really important? And I noticed that I develop a pattern for most of my life of avoiding intimacy, and I felt I'm avoiding intimacy here. On This is really important to my brother. It's important enough to him to send an email and invite all of us, and even offer to pay for some of the trip. And I know that this woman has really been important to him in his life, and as he is to her. And it's like, why not? Why would I not go? And so I just I went to kayak and bought a ticket. I'm going to Montana for Barbara's birthday. But I just wanted to share with you guys and to our listeners that this never could have happened if I hadn't learned the intentional living practice. I just would have wallowed in feeling angry and resentful, and I would have rationalized my decision and tried to become defensive. And John, you and I talked in one of our recent podcasts about when I defend myself, I'm contributing to my own oppression.
Yep.
And I would have just been doing that. And so I just wanted to share with you and our listeners that this is for me, a real life example of the power of the practice to pay attention. I just noticed my body was going, no, 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 this ain't gonna work. And so I just found the way to focus and stay with the feeling until the realization surfaced in my conscious mind as to what might also be going on, and I made a different decision.
Very good. And the key here is the ability to listen to body sensations. I used to, before my recovery, I'd get a body sensation, and I go right to some attack or defense, or it's their fault. I'm feeling this. Why don't they just leave me alone? Some kind of rationale, instead of going in and communicating with my source of information, to my ability for intimacy, to connect, to belong, to all that. It's in the body. Powerful, very powerful.
Yeah. And for the newcomer, there is this very specific practice that we may or may not refer to it specifically today, but there are many of our podcasts where we talk about the accountability tree. It's the name of our practice of feeling the feeling of what's going on and staying with the feeling rather than trying to change it, obliterate it, rearrange it, resist it. Just be with it and know that there is some information there for us. And it's in our subconscious, but our conscious mind is probably not aware of it. That's why something in our subconscious is trying to get our attention. And so if we can just sit with it, um, there's all kinds of information becomes available. And when I have new information about what's going on with me, I become free to not only make different choices, but to make conscious choices. And that for
Yeah.
me is the whole power of the practice.
Yeah.
So with that,
Yeah.
we can move on to our topic today. A while ago, Dan, you introduced us to this book by Lisa Feldman Barrett called How Emotions Are Made, The Secret Life of the Brain, a very powerful book. And we've even discussed a few of the ideas from her book on some of our podcasts. But you a couple of weeks ago, you raised uh, a quotation from her that we want to discuss today. I'm going to bring it up on the share screen. And there it is. As children, we are not responsible for the world that created our minds. As adults, we are responsible for the mind that creates our world, not because we are to blame, but because we are the only ones who can change it. So let's start with you, Dan. How did this catch your eye, and what did it mean to you? And share some of your insights if you don't mind.
At this point in my recovery and stuff, this explains what we're doing. This explains what I'm doing in my recovery. The awareness is that how I am experiencing the world today was influenced by the people, the world as a child, that created my mind. That's how I'm seeing the world. That's my default setting. That's where my subconscious programming are. That's the awareness. That's where I've been coming from. That's where I've been making my decisions from. And as an adult, we're responsible for the mind that creates the world. Well, without the first awareness, I can't have the second one. And for me, it's empowering. I started off, why do I behave the way that I do? And our answer is unresolved childhood trauma, family of origin, dysfunction. I mean, is the reason why we operate the way we do. And it's running on autopilot until I become aware that this is the way human beings function. And for me, that this is the good news. The good news is now, I don't take it personally anymore. Like I'm a bad person because I act this way. I don't blame anybody. It's just a statement of fact, and it takes the blame and judgment out of it for me. And it puts the responsibility or the accountability for what I want to create in the world on me, because I have the power to create it. And it's just a very I don't know. To me, it says exactly what I've been doing. I try to. I'm identifying my programming, which is the world that created my mind as a child, and become aware of it, and be accountable for it, and then create intentions for the world that I want to live in. It's in alignment with what we do. So that's what I get out of it.
Okay, cool. John?
One of the quotes that I got from actually from somebody I work with, it goes like this: the reality of the child becomes the belief of the adult. And the reality of the child, especially in a dysfunctional alcoholic household, could be a military family, it could be a fundamentalist, whatever the reality of that child is. And the reality of the child is that it is codependent. In fact, it's the definition of its life is dependent on somebody else, codependent. And the reality of the child, too, in a dysfunctional, traumatic home is that it is the victim. And the child has, a 2-year-old, has no recourse when being berated by a parent or abused or traumatized by a parent. They have no recourse. So that reality that they were codependent and victim became the belief of the adult, and it was subconscious. As children from ages of 1 through 6, 7, we're in this theta state where we just soak up all the information given to us, and this is a logistics thing, because a child needs to know about 10,000 different prompts or mores depending on the culture they're raised in. So they have to learn a lot, language, patterns of behavior that are suitable for the culture. And when they're raised in a dysfunctional or abusive place, they learn that. And in my experience of the trauma I went through, I developed a sense of self, an idea about myself, a belief about myself that was relegated to the subconscious. And an example of what I'm talking about for my child, it appeared that I was a burden to them. How come you're doing this? You caused me to worry. How come you this? You made me. So I get it that I'm a burden or the cause of their pain. So when I grow up as an adult, my default mode is codependency. I'm here to make your happiness is dependent on my behavior. So I got to make sure you're okay. Instead of knowing who I am and then interacting with you in a interdependent way instead of a codependent way. And that's what the whole intentional living body of work and the process we're talking about, accountability tree process, is recognizing the truth of what I came to believe as a child, and owning the behavior that came from it, and then addressing the subconscious, motivation for whatever choice I'm making in the now moment that keeps leading me to my results list, which is codependent, addicted, or some type of avoidant behavior, and like rageaholic, workaholic. And that's why the 3 questions at the beginning: have I ever hurt somebody that I loved, regretted it? And then I did it again. It's like, I swear I'll never do that again. And it could be 1 minute later, I'm doing the same thing. And that's the entrenched, there's probably a better word for it.
It's programmed.
Program in my subconscious that when this situation comes, I mean, it could be a confrontation, it could be a request, it could be feeling frustrated. I got to fix it. And instead of feeling it, knowing that I can move, if I'm noticing frustration as an adult, I can move through that frustration towards resolution. I don't have to negate myself or anybody else. And that's what I didn't get as a child. And I wasn't responsible for my mother or dad or aunt, uncle, teacher, I mean, and what they projected onto me, or and my interpretation of what that was. Instead of being talked to and explained and nurtured through these discordant feelings, I was told just to be better, figure it out, be better, be a good boy. So instead of being the kind of kid you are right now, be a good boy. And I had to figure that all out myself, which created coping skills like lying, like not telling the truth. That saved my ass quite a bit, although it perpetuated in my adult life to where I couldn't be honest with somebody I was in an agreement of a relationship where we would support each other, primary relationship. I was unable to offer that support and or receive the support from them because of this trauma and the belief system I had created. Whenever Mrs. Barrett said this, she'd been working with how this works internally. And one of the things she doesn't talk about it, and we talk about it in intentional living, is that reticular activating system, the survival mechanism that's attached to the trauma. And I lived through the trauma. So this mechanism keeps me in survival mode. And I keep repeating and recreating situationally and body chemistry what I survived as a child, which is adrenaline stressors. And the word to describe the event around me is chaos and drama, and adversarial language. I've discovered early in my recovery that I use the language of war in my relationship. Like, oh, you just took a pot shot at me. How come you're attacking me? You blindsided me. All these terms that would normally be used in a war situation or a fight situation in the relationship. So, and this intentional living accountability tree process enables me, us, whoever engages in it, to unravel these fixed beliefs, heal the traumas, reframe, release this stuck energy. And that's what trauma is: stuck energy, stuck fear, stuck terrified, stuck I don't know what to do, stuck frozen. So yeah, this is a powerful statement, although it deserves a lot of talking and communication to like grasp exactly what it's saying and the depth of what it's saying. So
Yeah. When I I heard somebody the same way. I heard them, say that I won't do it again.
yeah,
When the situation comes up, my in the moment, I have no clue of what's going on or why, but I make a decision, and I do the same thing over again.
yeah,
And what I've learned is that comes from my need to survive. That was what I learned how to do to survive.
correct.
And it's like, okay, well, that's what I do. And the reason that I do those things is because I haven't learned to do something else. I haven't had a different experience. I haven't been taught or navigated the situation to have a different outcome. My subconscious mind and my survival instinct doesn't afford me that opportunity. The way to put it is like my subconscious mind sees that moment as me looking at the grass is waving in the high bush, and if I stay and talk about it, I'm going to get eaten by that lion. So what do? I bolt. I see it as a lion, and I'm out of here.
Right.
So I never learned to do anything else. And my subconscious mind is going to trump anything my conscious mind puts out there. So the goal for me is to get into and work with my subconscious mind, programming it through repetition, doing it enough times, and change the survival mechanism to stay, feel my feelings. I won't die from this experience. And that's the only way, that's the way that I've seemed to be able to navigate these situations when they come up. What I understand is that I'm acting from my subconscious 95% of the time, and that's where my wounding, that's where my conditioning is. And the only conscious thing that I can do is tell myself that what I'm experiencing is from my subconscious and my past. Would I be willing to understand that and accept that and know that I'm safe in the moment? And it's like, okay, well, that I have access to. Feel my feelings about what just came up, take a deep breath, and create the intention to feel safe when I get activated. I intend to be safe when I feel I'm in conflict. I intend to be safe no matter what. I can't make a decision or I can't use tools when I'm at a level 9. I have to get back down to a 4 before the front part of my brain comes back online, and now it says use the tools. I can't use the tools if I'm adrenalized. I can't use the tools if I'm in fight or flight.
Correct.
And for me, the goal is to notice when I get activated. And okay, so for me, it's like the activation is where I want to be. When I get activated, that's the goal. I've changed pain to healing. Now I know that I've done this enough times. When I get activated, that's where I want to stay because the resolution lies there. It doesn't, I've learned, it doesn't learn to, the solution is not to dissociate. The solution is not to blame, judge, all those things. I just allow it to happen. As an adult, I will not die from being activated.
Right.
But as a child, being activated is going to draw fire because I'm going to make noise and make myself visible. If I complain, it's my fault. You're the problem, Daniel, not me. So what I'm doing is allowing myself that voice. Go to your room and figure it out. Well, that room never taught me anything. So what I have to do now as an adult to create my world is teach myself the things that I did not get as a child. I didn't get the nurturing, the compassion. I didn't get the emotional, what I should do with my emotions, what they are. I shouldn't be afraid of them. All these things that I got in as a child that the world gave me. A part of that too is what the world didn't give me. And that's where, as an adult, I'm responsible for my mind that creates the world.
All right.
And part of the intentional living process is asking myself, what do I want from the world? And then consciously create the intentions to create that world. I mean, that's huge. That's a tool to use to navigate all this. One of my intentions is to know what I don't know. Great, right? Okay. Well, that keeps me from one of my survival mechanisms is a know-it-all. I'm pretty much open to that. I don't know a lot of things, especially when it comes to family of origin. So I'm open to it all. I created the intention to be open to everything and everything. I intend to question everything. Nothing gets away unexamined. And then what I learn, I become accountable for. And after I become accountable for it, then I create an intention for whatever it is I want based on what I learned about it.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's one step at a time. But if I don't understand, this is speaking for me, what I learned was that my childhood affects my behavior as an adult. There's no ifs, there's no ands, and there are no buts. I am motivated by beliefs, patterns, assumptions, perceptions of the world that until I understood that were beyond me.
And the trigger now becomes an opportunity. What we're calling trigger, or an event that happens in real time that resonates with unresolved childhood, because a lot of it's subconscious, pre-verbal, nonverbal. That trigger, which normally in me not knowing this information, flooded me with adrenaline, which is fight, flight, freeze, please. And I'd be in an adrenalized body, and the purpose of this adrenaline is to put me in a position to ward off the danger, to flee from the danger, to freeze or act like play dead, or go into a please mode or fawning. And knowing that, I remember working in the jails, and we'd be talking to a violent offender, and they would talk about a trigger, and she said to me, boom, and that's when you felt it. You felt the trigger. That's where we taught them to say, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die. Because adrenaline in your body is alerting your body to danger. And the only thing standing in reality and standing in front of you is a 5'2" brunette, big-eyed, beautiful woman, where I just made her the saber-tooth tiger or the monster or the attacker. And I'm not going to die. No, and that trigger now becomes an opportunity to, like, okay, come back into this space, this time, instead of being triggered back into my childhood reactive response mode. And I don't know if that was more confusing to our listener, or hopefully it creates curiosity, because, like Marty says, we have 4 meetings a week that we take people through this process. And we could talk for 10 years about this. And if we take a person through this experience of what we're calling this recognizing the truth in the moment, the accountability, and then feeling that in your body, and then creating an intent, one of those experiences puts you someplace that all the talk in the world can't. It's the experience of this healing process, and that's what accountability tree is, recognizing I have complex unresolved post-traumatic stress, that it's affecting my reaction and choices in the moment. So I just own the truth. I'm mean, I'm violent, I just attacked you. Nice deep breath. And that validates all that. I don't know how many times that the event reoccurred in my childhood that created the belief to reaction. And then I can, like, feel that, release that, because the subconscious doesn't tell time. So I'm actually nurturing myself as a 2-3-year-old. And I said, I'm mean, I'm violent, I just attacked you. Nice deep breath. I intend to be kind. Changes the subconscious pre-information. Now the moment, instead of being reactive, it's contemplative. Like, oh, wait a minute, did I really hear what you said, or what did you say? I'm not. And engaging that, just that right there, when I go, oh, wait a minute, I'm not sure I heard what you said, puts me in the space with them, which I wasn't able to achieve prior to my recovery and prior to learning this accountability practice. I was always in an adversarial fight, flight, freeze, please mode, and I didn't even know it. And then I had to explain that rationally to somebody, and that's where we get the 3 questions. Yes, I've regretted hurting people, and then turned right around and did it again. And okay, family avoidance dysfunction, childhood trauma, we need to pay attention to the subconscious here. We could talk all day long here until we get into the subconscious and validate and heal, let that energy go. Then we can be in the present moment. And then now, as an adult, I'm responsible for my mind that's creating my world, and reframing all the old beliefs that created the world I'm trying to get out of: codependency, addiction, avoidant behavior, rageaholic, workaholic stuff. So, yeah, wow.
One of the things that I think is useful to chew on a little bit here is the first sentence says, as children, we are not responsible for the world that created our minds. That's an adult observation. My inner child doesn't believe that shit for a second.
No.
And so the opportunity here is to use that adult insight to apply our adult responsibility. As adults, I'm responsible for the mind that creates my world, and reassure that child who is stuck. You use the word programming or entrenched. That belief isn't stuck in my subconscious, as Dan said. Um, and it doesn't have to become controlling anymore. The little
Right.
child, the inner child, the wounded child has no choice but to maintain its defenses. It has no choice but to maintain its sense of safety. Whether the adult mind looks and goes, that isn't safe, but the inner child or the wounded child who went through these experiences, as you said, John, in the pre-verbal parts of our lives, 0
Yeah.
to 6, 7. And I like what you say is like, I forget the word you use, but we're just in an absorptive mode. We're just
Yeah.
absorbing the data that come into us, the information, the emotional charge of the environment that we're in.
Mhm.
And when it's painful, if we don't get relief from that pain, we have to create some kind of way to dispel it, diminish
Right.
it somehow.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and oftentimes what we do is we adapt the very oppressive emotional environment that we're trying to resist,
Correct.
because what we resist persists. And
Yes.
so it's, you guys and all three of us facilitate these meetings where first of all, we've all been through this process. That's part of the reason I wanted to share the experience I did at the beginning of the podcast, to give a very practical example of how this process works. And as we facilitate these meetings, one of the things I've noticed is that persistent um, desire of that wounded child to keep its belief system intact. So, what do you guys see, and how do you respond?
Well, yeah, it's good that you can recognize that was just your motive operandi, and being as it's subconscious, we're not privy to the motivation that creates this erratic, unreasonable, re-traumatizing behavior. So just knowing that any behavior or trigger, my reaction is always in alignment with everything I've experienced. It cannot be something I haven't experienced. So if that's true, and that is true, then I just own I'm reactive. I'm scared in this moment. I'm reactive. I'm acting as if you're attacking me. Which now the child hears, oh, I see you're upset. I see you're frustrated. It gets, I'm at, instead of my guardians being able to mirror for me, oh, I see you're frustrated. I see you're hurt. Oh, that must be sad. That must be difficult. Instead of being mirrored what's going on inside me and learning, I was told, be better. Stop with this and just be a good kid. Everybody be fine. So now in the present moment, I'm doing what my parents were unable to do, and feel that pain, that fear, that traumatizing, that stuckness. And yeah, I see. Yeah, that must have been terrible. And that's all happens in the statement of truth. I'm reacting from an old trauma. Oh yeah, yeah, you are. Oh, I intend to heal. I intend to attend to that unresolved trauma. That the subconscious doesn't tell time, so it's like that little kid's with me right now, and I'm the parent. I'm the loving parent. Oh, I see you're upset. Ooh, and I see that you just hit your brother. Nice deep breath. Yeah, and that's not okay. Let's talk. We can talk. We don't have to. Whatever I missed, I get to give to myself today. And it's in that accountability process and that tree that we talk about all the time.
So I like to, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but a lot of people, when we say we have an inner child, and the inner child is this, the inner child won't let me, or the inner child is scared.
Yeah.
The idea that you're separate from that statement. For me, anytime that I'm separate from myself, that's the
Yeah.
trauma. When I believe I'm not who I am, that there's a part of me that's not good or is bad.
Yep.
And there's a separation between the two. The healing of this, for me, this work is to unify and become, accept all the parts of me that I may not approve of, or I may approve of, but I still don't want to own. But it's to integrate that. It's to see myself as one whole part of me. Sometimes I get fearful when people I hear that, I have this inner child and I'm in conflict with the inner child. I'm not. It's not a competition. It's not it's not. Yeah, it's not a battle. The little kid's not evil.
No.
He's not the devil.
No.
He's not conscious. There's no intent to cause harm.
No.
And what has allowed me to do is to see myself with greater compassion, and to see that, to look back at my childhood and to realize what I had to go through, or what I lived through, and my experience of it. One thing I've come to lately is I'm a pretty energetic guy. I'm a pretty lively guy. I'm pretty funny, and I'm pretty mischievous. And this is at a 65-year-old. And I'm going, I could not imagine what I was like at 4 and 5. But I do know that there was coercion, emotional, verbal, and physical coercion to suppress that.
Yep.
And I couldn't imagine how much energy it took to make me knuckle under and behave. And to realize that there was a lot of fucking coercion there.
Mm-hmm.
And that little kid, that energy is still there. It's never been quelled.
No.
And I was coerced and emotionally and verbally and physically violent, had violence done to me that way, so I could be the perfect kid that my mother wanted me to be. And it's just, I'm just shaking, because I know how much of a fight I put up as an adult. How much, yeah. He, or that version of me, the inner child, is not the problem. He is the solution.
No. Right.
And my opportunity is to, as an adult, is to create the mind that allows me to integrate that part of me which has been suppressed, depressed, and shunned.
Right.
And that's, to me, having that awareness that my behavior as an adult comes from the trauma that I experienced in childhood. It's not to blame anybody, but to have the awareness that this is what I'm dealing with. How do I navigate this how do I want to navigate this? I want to navigate it safely, compassionately, and with forgiveness, so I can allow myself to learn in a safe space, which I didn't have.
Correct.
I was never told. All I was told is sit still, sit still, sit still.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I can't, and nobody's telling me how. I'm supposed to know.
Yep.
And then all I know is it's like, I'm off to the back of the room again. I'm being separated, and I'm being made fun of because I can't sit still. And my greatest thing I think I've done for myself is allow myself to feel safe feeling my feelings, having this experience that I'm sharing with you and not judge it, to be able to hold my fear and my pain in the same hand at the same time and be present to both.
Yes.
And that allows me to connect the two and be present to them and heal them in the moment.
Yeah. This is a mic drop moment. And like, boom, yes.
For me, I teach or I encourage is to have a safe relationship with your emotional body.
Yep.
Don't take all the story out, whys and wheres. It's just feel your feelings and allow yourself to feel safe feeling them. And that if you can do that, then the rest of it you can do up here cognitively. We're talking about being safe in our somatic body. I guess that's saying the same thing.
Yeah.
If I can do that, if I can create an environment where I can feel safe feeling my feelings, that is the cornerstone of the rest of it. But that all comes from I never felt safe in my body as a child. I remember leaving Germany and we're standing in my aunt's driveway and she wants to say goodbye to me. She goes down to grab a hold of me and hug me. I literally burst out of there. And I'm just standing there jumping up and down because I don't know what to do. I didn't understand that.
Right.
Through this work, I understood that when my mother hugged me or went to go hug me, it wasn't what she was trying to grab me. She didn't pick me up and hold me. She was trying to grab me. That's why I don't let anybody get near me. I don't like being hugged because I don't trust the person doing it. Is there part of that is, and as an adult, I have a fear of intimacy. And that's in perfect alignment with that.
Yep.
And that's what I have struggled with. I struggle with it at times, and I understand as an adult, I have the capacity to know that when it's happening, this is the accountability process. Having that process is now I can bring that process online and heal this. Feel your feelings, own what's happening. How do I want to behave? What do I want? I intend to feel safe having intimacy. I intend to be willing to feel safe being intimate.
There you go.
Just to have the experience that I don't die having this experience. I want to create a new experience and not create the old one again. Having the new experience gives me a new seed I can plant so in the future I can harvest feeling safe in intimate moments. So that becomes my default setting. Intimacy is safe.
Yeah.
That's what I can do as an adult. That's how, as an adult, I can create my world.
One of the realizations I had on this line is I would notice that in the evening, if I after the sun went down and the sun was setting, if I heard like a voice down the hall, like a distant, I would actually have a startle reaction. I would that like startled, like somebody just threw a grenade at me, and I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Whoa. In my household, when the sun went down, my drunk, oppressive father came out. So, of course, I'm alert to any noise down the hall, because that would alert me to, he's coming around. So I gotta so with that information, and this has been a while back. Uh, I haven't experienced with my healing, acknowledging that, and then saying I intend to heal. Um, I can't remember the last time I experienced that. And so this healing is like you're describing this reaction. The healing happens with the recognition of the trauma, the result of the trauma.
That's the truth.
That's the truth, which reframes, which validates, which releases. I don't know how to say this. It heals. It transmutes. This is no longer a trigger thing, frequency. It moves through based on my adult mind recognizing what's really going on, which is no blame, no judgment. Of course, I startle when the sun goes down. Oh, that's reasonable. Okay, I intend to heal. I intend to be gracious. I intend to, and then I find myself. You find yourself. We witness each other different, in alignment with what we say. I intend to be compassionate. I intend to be gracious. I intend to heal. I intend to be present in the moment. I intend to, accept life on life's terms instead of needing it to be a certain way so I feel safe. No, life is the way it is, and I can make myself safe in any situation because I'm no longer that victim, which was the reality of the child. I have advocacy. I have resources today, which most of my life I had no idea.
Yes. So for another thing, I think you touched on it earlier. I cannot think my way through this.
No.
Okay, I don't have to. When I have the experience of being in my body and surviving or not dying from an experience that I've been avoiding my entire life,
Yeah.
that's the moment where my life can change.
Okay.
Because that little child, or as you know, growing up, that feeling, that startle meant survival.
Correct.
And having that startle probably saved that from, you're paying heads up. Now you can avoid it. Maybe you can hide. Maybe you can do something.
Yeah.
But that's,
Leave my body.
Leaving your body. But as an adult, when you notice that, you can stay present to it and talk or allow yourself to navigate it and see that there is the other side. You will come out on the other side.
Give myself the nurturance and mirroring I didn't get as a child. And that's what adult trauma alcoholics say, loving parent.
Yeah.
I see you're startled. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, it's okay. Next time I will, or I intend to heal. Yeah, this is scary. This is unreasonable. Takes a lot of energy too. Pay attention to all those little noises.
Right.
Yeah.
So I remember when I first started doing this, I just did the process. I didn't think about it. I didn't question it. I didn't try to figure out what was happening. I just owned my truth in the moment. I'm activated. Okay. Take a deep breath. What do I want? I want to stay calm. Boom.
Yep.
And who I am comes out, and I want to know why it works. For people starting the process, I support you to want to know why it works, but I'd also like you to consider that if you're focusing on trying to figure out why it works, that's avoidance, and that's a dissociation.
Correct.
feel the feeling, why you want to know.
Yeah,
Because that goes
underlying
right
that.
back
Oh,
to
I need
trying
to.
to create safety for myself. Because if I know how it works, I know, okay, all right, okay. And I'm telling you right now, for me, the wisdom comes from doing the process.
Yes.
You can't get the wisdom if you don't have the embodied experience. You cannot think your way to the other side. And I support everybody, if you think you can, I'll give you my number. And if you figure it out, you call me.
Yeah. Yeah. You're the first one they call and say, "Oh, I'm glad you figured that out."
We'll start a new podcast for that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, the only thing that, well, not the only thing, one of the things that is really important is to have compassion for yourself. For me, I've learned that without compassion for myself and forgiveness for my behavior, and knowing that I'm not my behavior, I'm acting from childhood trauma, unresolved childhood trauma, family of origin dysfunction. It literally creates, for me, it creates that relief sensation, that deep breath at the awareness of it. And by saying that, I know where it comes from, and I can take a deep breath. The breath comes after I say it. That's the healing. That's the truth, saying the truth and my body responding to it. It's that exhalation, which is relaxing, which in turn lowers my adrenaline levels or keeps me calm. And in this state of relaxation, that's when the body's ability to heal comes back online. I believe that we have the ability to create healing. It's in us. That's what I'm looking for, or that's what I think people are looking for, is that moment to take that breath and exhale. That is the start of the healing process. And how do you get there? I own the fact that my behavior stems from my subconscious mind, which is affected by my childhood. Uh, I'm lovable. I'm whole. I'm not broken. And it's just like, and I couldn't have turned out any other way. It's like, thank you. Somebody's validated my experience.
Uh, Guys, it's a good place for us to wrap up because it's about that time.
Okay.
And what I think, Dan, what you just said is probably the most salient for anybody who's listening, and especially for anybody who's a newcomer, that this is work that we do in group together. It's not something I could have done on my own at the beginning. I don't know how many years I did the practice with you guys and others before I felt powerful enough and confident enough to do it on my own. So it does take time. I think you both mentioned that. And we do this in group. And I thought with the three of us here together, maybe we could each take a minute and talk a little bit about the group that we facilitate. Let people know about the time and the all the they're all on Zoom, so the Zoom addresses for each of the meetings will be at the end of the podcast. But Dan, tell us a little bit about your meeting. When is it, and what do you focus on? What's it called?
Um, the meeting I facilitate is Monday nights at 6:30 on
Pacific
Zoom,
time?
Pacific time. And I don't know what I focus on. For me, it's just having the awareness that my behavior, how I see myself, is not something that I've chosen consciously. This is somebody else's opinion and conditioning, and their wounding that was projected onto me. I try to emphasize the fact that exactly what Lisa Barrett says, you know, how I'm viewing the world stems from my childhood, and how to validate that experience and create the healing and allow that pain a space to surface and be witnessed in a safe environment.
What's the name of your group?
Manifesting my choices.
Manifesting Your Choices. I need to probably change that in my list of groups.
Okay.
Yeah. I do Saturday morning at 8:30. The name of my group is Digging in the Dirt. And same way I explain the problem where I find myself, codependent, addicted, some type of avoidant behavior, rageaholic, workaholic. And I outline the problem, and then I move to the solution, which is what we're talking about, saying the truth, taking a breath, in a blame-free, judgment-free environment. And Saturday morning, 8:30, my group goes for an hour, 45 minutes. And anybody, it's an open group, as I believe yours is. Anybody can come. They can put themselves on mute, blank their screen, observe what we do, make sure we're not some kind of crazy people, and see if there's any value in there for them. And if they want, they can participate and join, come back. It's open and free. So.
Thanks, John. And I facilitate on Wednesday afternoons at 4 o'clock Pacific time. Our meeting is called the Gut Check meeting. And the Gut Check meeting was developed, I don't know, 3-4 years ago now to inquire into whether the accountability practice that we've been talking about can be applied to physical as well as psychological health. And it's the insight of many of our colleagues in this world of psychology and somatic experience that our thoughts often can cause us to have physical pain. That physical pain can be something specific like back pain, or it can be something chronic. Like I have Crohn's disease, which I've had officially diagnosed since I was 18 years old, which is an intestinal thing. So the Gut Check meeting was designed to just have that inquiry. But just like with Dan and you, John, we use the accountability tree for anybody that wants to work the process on anything that's on his or her mind.
Correct.
And for the newcomers, when newcomers come, we take the time to just do a little overview of the accountability tree, and then we just open the meeting up for anything that anybody wants to work on. So
yeah.
So those
Thursday
are
night.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thursday night, Rodney does a group at 6:30, and I believe he calls his the Rusty Nail Club. And
Right.
if you want to know why he calls it the Rusty Nail, join that meeting. He'll
ask
tell
him.
you.
He'll
Ask him.
gladly
He'll tell you.
explain it.
He'll gladly explain Rusty Nail Club. And he's also a practitioner of this work. He uses this work in his own life. So
Yes,
yeah.
Well, Dan, thank you very much for bringing the Lisa Feldman Barrett quote to us so that we could have this very robust conversation. And as always, thanks for joining us. And Dan, or
Absolutely.
John, thank you. As always, I want to note that today is our 6th anniversary of doing this podcast. We started this in May of 2020, the beginning of the month. And so here
wow.
we are.
Well,
still,
congratulations.
yeah, still going strong. And Dan, you've been a supporter and participant of it since the beginning. So we thank you. And all those of you who are watching, who have been watching since the beginning, we'll be happy to send the test out and see how well you score. And with that, thanks, gentlemen, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right.
You got it. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.